Welcome! I will be creating a 3D extrusion from path and layers in Photoshop in this tutorial. The scene I will be creating is a version of the character from the restaurant chain Jack in the Box. Jack will be coming out of the box in my scene. The first thing that I would like to create is the box for Jack to be coming out of. That can be accomplished by going down to the 3D panel, Mesh from Preset, and choosing Cube, and then clicking Create. As you can see on the artboard, a 3D cube was created. There are two ways to manipulate the object. Click here on Cube. By using the widget that appears on the screen, you can move, you can rotate, and you can scale. This has all been shown in previous tutorials. For the purpose of time and this video, since it takes a while to get the objects into place, I will be using the coordinates panel. This is the coordinates that I have used for the box in case that you are following along and want to recreate the same exact object. Now that I have the box created, I would like to change the materials on the box to jazz it up a bit. I can go here and click on filter by materials. As you can see, there's 6 materials. If I wanted to change them all at once, I can just shift and click on them. I will change the materials to a fun texture. And as you can see on the artboard, that has changed. The next object that I would like to create is a spear for Jack's head. To do any additional objects to the scene, you can right click on your original object, which was cube, and then add spear. Let's make it the default size, and as you can see, we have created our spear, which is huge. Again, for time purposes, I will be manipulating the coordinates. Okay, so I manipulated the coordinates for the spear by basically moving it up 5.18 and decreasing the size to 3.7 on the X, Y, and the Z axis. So now the spear is sitting right above the box as if the head will be coming out of the box. The next new object or mesh from preset that I will be creating will be a cone for the hat. So I will right click on the cube, add cone, just like the other objects. Change this to inches, make it about an inch, and there you can see the cone was added. It's also added to the list of meshes if you filter by mesh. I will adjust the coordinates to move the cone up for a hat and also to rotate. As I had hinted to earlier and showed in previous tutorials, adjusting the coordinates is done by just inputting the numbers. So I'll just show you that real quick. So for this cone, I'll move it on the X axis 1.38, then I can tab down to the Y 7.23, and then 0.05 for the Z axis. And I do need to change the rotation like I had said before. 8.2 on the X and a negative 43.1 for the Y and 31.1 for the Z. The cone is a little large, as I also had said, so I'll make it 1.81, 1.81, and 1.81, so it's proportional. And let's zoom out here. And we can see that we have created the cone and it's fit nicely on top of the head. Click on the cone again. Let's filter by materials, cone material, and zoom in on the properties palette. And let's change the cone to, let's see, a black satin material, satin black, and then make it more of a goldish color. That's the color of hat that Jack wears. down here, the yellows. That should work, and click OK. The next thing we want to do is to add the eyes for Jack. So we'll come down here again, right click on cube, add sphere. That should work for the eyes. Change this to inches. Set that to 1 inch by 1 inch. And as you can see, we have the sphere. We can adjust the coordinates. The coordinates for Jack's left eye have been input, as you can see. The position is -0.6 on the x-axis, on the y-axis 6.22, and on the z-axis 1.45. I have also decreased the size to 0.69. Zoom out, and the next thing I want to do is choose that material for the sphere. So filter by materials, sphere material, and then let's make it a satin black with a blue finish. Nice bright blue, and then click OK. As you can see, we have created Jack's left eye. Since his right eye is going to be pretty much the same as the left eye, we can come down here on the 3D panel. We can right click on sphere material, or actually not sphere material, but actually the actual sphere, and then we can click on duplicate objects. And as you can see, another sphere was created. And then we will just have to go in and manipulate the coordinates. Now we have the coordinates for Jack's right eye. Basically, we moved it over 0.6, down a little bit, 6.16, and on the z-axis 1.45. The rest of the coordinates remain the same. For Jack's nose, we'll be creating a cone. Add a cone, inches, same as we have for every other object. And as you can see, the cone was created for Jack's nose. Now we just need to manipulate the coordinates. And the coordinates for Jack's nose are, on the x-axis 0.07, y 5.68, and z 2.2. We have a rotation on the x of a -67.2, on the y a 9.3, and on the z a -4.5. I also decreased the size of the cone for Jack's nose to 0.69. The next thing we need to do is to find the material for the nose, which is the cone material, and we're going to change that to a satin black as well. Actually, that is not correct because that's the wrong thing. See, so I click out of here, Command Z to undo. I want to do the cone material. That's the cone material. Gotta be careful what you click on. So we'll make that a satin black. Alright, so the only thing missing from Jack's face is a mouth. I'm going to create that in a little different manner. I've created a new document, and what I'm going to do is draw the mouth with the pen tool in Photoshop. And by no way am I an artist, so do my best here. And we'll use that as the mouth. And to make this a 3D extrusion, we will come up to 3D menu and new 3D extrusion from a selected path. And that will create your 3D object. Let's see. As you can see, it's now a 3D object. Click on the object, and then we can do some manipulation. As shown in previous tutorials, I think I'll inflate it to make it a little more round. Maybe it doesn't need to be so deep. Just a little. And then let's check on the caps. Right here, front and back. We can change them however we want to. Let's just pick sawtooth. And then let's zoom in for a second. A little slow. So there we have the mouth. Once we have the mouth created, we go up here to the Photoshop to 3D, export 3D layer. And then we come down to the format, and we're going to change that to an STL format and click Save and OK. To get that mouth into the scene that we've been working on, what we need to do is we can go to the mesh, filter by meshes. If we right click on the cube, we will see an option for add from file, and then we choose the mouth that we just created. Click OK. We'll keep that the same and OK. And as you can see, if you look in your meshes, it created the mouth. We will need to do some manipulations on this mouth as it looks like it needs to be flipped, as it's a frown right now. So we will definitely modify the coordinates for the mouth. And the coordinates for Jack's mouth. The position of the mouth is at 0.14 on the x-axis, 5.14 on the y-axis, 2.08 on the z-axis. And I had to rotate it about 105.5 degrees on the x, 17.5 on the y, and a negative 2.8 on the z. And for the size of the mouth, it's about 1.84, 0.17, and 0.75. Your coordinates will be a little different if you're following along and trying to recreate this, because I'm sure your drawing will also be different. The next thing I want to do is go to the materials, and I want to choose the mouth material, and let's just make it satin black as well to make it consistent. So now we have the complete head for Jack, complete face, hat, and everything. So the next thing that I want to do is create some text for the box. Actually, that will be the final thing that will be created. Somewhat similar to creating the mouth, we'll be creating some text. We'll go down to the text tool, create a text box, type in our text, click out of the box, and instead of new 3D extrusion from selected path under the 3D menu, we will click on new 3D extrusion from selected layer. And there you have it. The 3D text was created. And for some manipulation of the text, you just click on the text and click whichever option you want to change it. We had talked about changing text previously. Let's make it a little bit deeper perhaps. Go up here to the deform and maybe twist it about 25 degrees, see what that looks like. Where did my twist go to? There we go. Twist it 25 degrees. And let's see, that should be good. Got some nice creative text. Okay, so to get this text into the scene, go up to 3D again and export 3D layer. Change this file format to an STL as before and save. If we go into our scene, filter by meshes, come up here to our cube, right click, add from file just like the mouth, and we're looking for that text file. There we go, and click open and OK. And that will import the text, as you can see from the artboard and also from your filter by meshes material. The next thing we'll need to do is manipulate the coordinates again for the text this time. For our final set of coordinates, the coordinates for the Jack text, we have a position on the x coordinate of negative 0.08, the y 3.04, the z 1.71, And we did have to rotate it because it brought it in kind of upside down. So the X was rotated 99.8 degrees, the Y 0.4 degrees, and the Z -2 degrees. For the size of the text on the x-axis, it is 4.38, on the y 1.18, and on the z 2.28. One last final thing that we want to do is go into the materials, and we want to make sure we have the text material picked and make it satin black. I think that'll look a little bit better. So let me just scroll around here. We have a nice jack coming out of the Jack-in-the-Box. And that is our complex 3D object from a 3D extrusion from the path and layers, and also the mesh presets. And that concludes the tutorial. Thanks for watching.